It all started as a night of music, family, and love, but it ended in absolute chaos. Fans couldn't believe their eyes when Glorilla's concert took a shocking turn, and Tamar Braxton found herself at the center of a scandal that's got everybody talking. Cameras were rolling, fans were screaming, and before anyone knew it, what should have been a fun performance spiraled into one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the year. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Glorilla was halfway through her set when a fan suddenly launched a bottle toward the stage. And let's just say, Glorilla did not take that lightly. Security rushed in, the music stopped, and what happened next had social media exploding within minutes. But that wasn't even the biggest shock of the night, because just a few feet away, Tamar Braxton was caught doing something that left her sister Toni speechless. Allegedly, Tamar was seen getting way too close to Toni Braxton's husband on stage, and fans are calling it the ultimate betrayal. Between Glorilla's meltdown and Tamar's jaw-dropping behavior, emotions ran high, the crowd went wild, and the Braxton family drama just reached a boiling point. And trust me, you won't believe how this story ends. The night began like any other high-energy concert. Glorilla had been on tour for weeks, and this stop in Atlanta was supposed to be one of her biggest shows yet. Fans packed the arena, lights flashing, bass thumping, everyone chanting her name as she took the stage. From the outside, it looked like a celebration, but behind the scenes, tensions were quietly building. Rumors had already started swirling earlier that day that something was off between Glorilla and her team. She had reportedly been frustrated about the stage setup and late sound checks, and those close to her said she'd been snapping at everyone before the show even began. Still, no one could have predicted how out of control things were about to get. As Glorilla began performing one of her biggest hits, the crowd went wild. Phones were in the air, people were singing along, and the energy was electric. But somewhere in the front row, a fan seemed to be getting restless. Witnesses said they noticed a woman in a pink hoodie shouting things toward the stage. Some claimed she was angry that Glorilla ignored her selfie request earlier. Others said she was drunk and just looking for attention. Whatever the reason, halfway through the song, that same fan picked up a plastic water bottle and hurled it straight at Glorilla. The moment the bottle hit the stage, everything changed. Glorilla froze mid-verse, her microphone still in her hand. The beat cut out as the DJ noticed the tension, and for a few seconds, there was nothing but silence. Then Glorilla's voice broke through the stillness, low and furious. "Who threw that?" she demanded, scanning the crowd. Her security guards immediately started moving forward, flashlights flickering as they tried to spot the culprit. Fans near the front began backing away, recording everything on their phones. "I don't play that," Glorilla shouted. "You don't disrespect me like that. Not at my show." Her voice cracked with anger as she threw her mic down for a second, pacing across the stage. The crowd started murmuring, unsure if this was part of the act or something real. But it became clear very quickly, this was real. Glorilla pointed into the audience and one of her bodyguards climbed down from the stage, moving toward the section where the bottle had come from. Within moments, the woman in the pink hoodie was surrounded. She tried to explain herself, waving her hands, but Glorilla wasn't having it. "You think it's funny to throw something at me?" she yelled, the words echoing through the speakers. Fans started chanting her name again, half cheering, half in shock, as the security team escorted the fan out of the arena. But even as the crowd cheered, Glorilla's expression stayed cold. After a few tense minutes, she finally picked up her microphone again and said, "Y'all, I love my fans, but I don't tolerate no disrespect. I came here to give y'all a show, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do." The crowd erupted into applause, but some people noticed her hands were still shaking. Behind the scenes, one of her team members whispered to another, "She's still mad. This night's about to go left." And they were right, because that incident was just the beginning. As the concert went on, Glorilla tried to keep her composure, but you could tell the energy had shifted. Every song felt heavier, every move more aggressive. People on social media were already posting clips of the bottle incident, with captions like, "Glorilla almost fought a fan," and "Things getting crazy in Atlanta." It was trending within minutes, and backstage, her management team was scrambling to do damage control. Meanwhile, in the VIP section, the Braxton sisters were in attendance. Toni Braxton had brought her husband to support Glorilla, who had recently collaborated with a friend of the family. Tamar Braxton, as usual, was the loudest in the room, laughing, singing along, and posting selfies to her Instagram story. Fans loved seeing the sisters together again after months of rumors about tension between them. But as the night wore on, that friendly energy started to fade. During the intermission, Glorilla went backstage to cool down, while the Braxtons mingled near the side of the stage. Tamar, dressed in a sparkling silver dress, seemed to be in a particularly playful mood. She danced around, talked to the crew, and kept taking glances at Toni's husband, who was standing just a few feet away, chatting with other guests. Witnesses later said Tamar was being a little too friendly. One backstage staffer claimed, "You could tell Toni noticed. She was giving her that look like, 'Girl, what are you doing?'" But Tamar just smiled, brushing it off. When Glorilla came back out to perform her final set, she invited a few special guests onto the stage to hype up the crowd, and that's when the night took another unexpected turn. Glorilla, still visibly frustrated but trying to power through, motioned for Toni and Tamar to come up and sing a quick line for fun. The crowd went wild at the sight of the Braxton sisters on stage together. It was supposed to be a lighthearted moment, a show of unity. But as the music played and the lights flashed, Tamar suddenly leaned in toward Toni's husband, who had joined them on stage, and started playfully dancing with him. The crowd gasped. Toni froze, her face falling for just a second before she forced a smile. Glorilla, standing nearby, looked from Tamar to Toni, clearly sensing the tension. Fans started shouting, phones were raised, and before long, the whole thing was being live-streamed across multiple social media platforms. Tamar's laughter echoed through the speakers as she playfully said, "Come on, it's just fun." But the awkwardness was undeniable. Toni took a small step back, folding her arms as the music continued. Glorilla tried to lighten the mood by shouting, "We just having a good time tonight." But the vibe had already shifted. People in the audience whispered to each other, some saying Toni looked embarrassed, others claiming Tamar was doing it on purpose. By the time the performance ended, the crowd was buzzing. Glorilla quickly exited the stage, heading straight for her dressing room, while Tamar and Toni exchanged a few quiet words that looked far from friendly. Backstage crew members described the tension as uncomfortable. One source said, "You could cut the air with a knife." Glorilla was mad about the bottle thing, and now the Braxtons were low-key arguing. It was chaos. After the show, Glorilla reportedly slammed her dressing room door shut, refusing to talk to anyone for 20 minutes. She called her manager and said, "I'm done with this city. I ain't performing here again." Meanwhile, Toni was seen walking quickly toward the exit, avoiding cameras. Tamar, however, stayed behind, chatting and laughing like nothing happened. Little did they know, by the next morning, the internet would be on fire. Clips of the fan throwing the bottle and Tamar dancing with Toni's husband had gone viral. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were filled with heated debates. Some defended Glorilla for standing up for herself, while others accused her of overreacting. And when it came to the Braxton sisters, fans were completely divided. Some called Tamar's actions disrespectful, while others said it was harmless fun. By sunrise, entertainment blogs were already writing headlines like "Glorilla attacked on stage," "Tamar Braxton sparks sister drama," and "Braxton family feud reignited after shocking onstage moment." But behind those headlines, the situation was far more emotional than anyone realized. What happened that night didn't just spark public outrage. It reopened old wounds within the Braxton family that had never fully healed. And when Toni finally decided to speak on what happened, everything got even messier. The morning after the concert, social media was a battlefield. Fans woke up to dozens of clips showing every chaotic second from the night before. One video showed Glorilla dodging the bottle as it flew past her mic stand. Another caught Tamar's playful dance with Toni's husband. And someone even filmed the tense exchange between the sisters backstage. Hashtags like Glorilla drama and Braxton mess were trending everywhere. And news outlets were rushing to get statements. Glorilla's team stayed silent for most of the morning, but insiders said she was furious. One close friend reportedly told a gossip blogger, "She's embarrassed. She feels like that fan tried. Her, and that the whole thing with Tamar just made the night worse. She wanted to keep it professional, but it turned into a circus." Meanwhile, Tamar was already on live, laughing off the situation. Sitting in her car, sipping iced coffee, she said, "Y'all do too much. I was just having fun. Ain't nobody flirting. Y'all take one little dance and turn it into a scandal." But the way she smiled at the end of that sentence didn't exactly help calm things down. Toni, on the other hand, stayed completely quiet. Fans noticed she didn't post anything, didn't like any tweets, and didn't appear in public. The silence only fueled speculation that she was upset. Some gossip pages even claimed that she unfollowed Tamar on Instagram, though that couldn't be confirmed. What was clear, though, was that something was definitely off between the sisters. Later that afternoon, Glorilla finally broke her silence. She posted on X, writing, Respect goes both ways. I love my fans, but don't cross that line. Within minutes, her post had over 100,000 likes. She didn't mention Tamar or the Braxtons, but people immediately assumed she was throwing shade about the whole situation. One user replied, "So she mad at Tamar too?" Another wrote, "Nah, she talking about that crazy fan." Still, others pointed out how Glorilla unfollowed a few people associated with Tamar's circle, which only added more fuel to the fire. By evening, gossip outlets had started piecing the two incidents together into one dramatic headline. Glorilla attacked on stage and Braxton family meltdown. Same night, same stage. It was the kind of chaos the internet loved. Fans began picking sides, some defending Glorilla for staying professional despite the bottle incident, while others dragged Tamar for crossing boundaries with her sister's husband. The comment sections were brutal, filled with speculation and accusations. But behind the online noise, the real drama was happening privately. Toni and Tamar hadn't spoken since the concert. According to a source close to the family, Toni felt humiliated. She allegedly told a friend, "She always has to make everything about her. I bring my husband to support Glorilla, and Tamar turns it into a spectacle." The friend said Toni had tears in her eyes while venting, saying she was tired of being embarrassed by her sister in public. On the other side, Tamar was reportedly confused and defensive. She told another insider, "Toni knows I love her. I wasn't flirting, I was performing. People always want to paint me like the villain." She complained that the media twisted everything, but deep down, she knew her actions on stage might have gone too far. Still, she refused to apologize first. Meanwhile, Glorilla was still processing the chaos from her show. Her team was urging her to issue an official statement to calm things down, but she didn't want to. One of her bodyguards recalled her saying, "I'm not explaining myself. They saw what happened. I'm not no puppet for the internet." Later that night, she posted a cryptic Instagram story that read, "Some people don't know how to act in other people's spotlight." Fans immediately connected the dots, assuming she was referring to Tamar. That post blew up. Within hours, Tamar clapped back, tweeting, "Baby, I been had my own spotlight. Don't do that." Fans lost their minds. Everyone was screenshotting, reposting, making reaction videos. TikTok creators started narrating the feud like it was an episode of a reality show. Comments poured in saying things like, "Glorilla and Tamar going at it? This is wild," and "Toni somewhere praying for peace." Toni stayed silent through it all, but the tension between her and Tamar kept growing. Reportedly, their mother, Evelyn Braxton, called a family meeting to settle things. The sisters agreed to meet privately, away from cameras, to talk it out. But according to someone close to the family, the conversation did not go well. The meeting took place at Toni's house in Los Angeles, just 3 days after the concert. Toni sat at the head of the table, quiet but visibly upset. Tamar walked in late, sunglasses on, phone in her hand, scrolling through comments from fans. "Girl, you really gonna act like this?" Toni said softly when she finally looked up. Tamar sighed. "Like what? You mad about a dance? It wasn't even that deep." Toni leaned forward. "It's not about the dance, Tamar. It's about respect. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed yourself, and you did it in front of my husband." Tamar laughed nervously. "Toni, I wasn't flirting. I was vibing. You know how I am." But Toni wasn't smiling. "You were grinding on my husband, on stage, in front of thousands of people. You know exactly what that looked like." Their mother tried to calm things down, saying, "Girls, let's not do this here." But neither of them wanted to back down. Tamar's tone got sharper. "Oh, so now I can't even have fun without it being a problem? You always judging me." Toni fired back. "You call that fun? Embarrassing your family?" The room went quiet for a moment. Tamar stood up, pacing. "You act like I did something unforgivable. It's always you versus me. You're the saint and I'm the problem. I'm tired of it." Toni's voice trembled. "I'm tired too. I'm tired of defending you when you don't even care how your actions affect the rest of us." The argument went in circles for almost an hour. Evelyn eventually told them both to stop before things went too far. Tamar stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. Toni stayed at the table, quiet, eyes filled with tears. Meanwhile, Glorilla was facing her own fallout. The fan who threw the bottle had come forward online, posting a shaky apology video. She claimed she didn't mean to hit Glorilla and that it was an accident. But Glorilla's team wasn't buying it. Her lawyer even hinted at pressing charges for assault, saying, "Artists deserve to feel safe on stage." This made headlines all over again, keeping Glorilla's name trending for another 48 hours straight. The drama had now split into two storylines. Glorilla versus the fan, and Tamar versus Toni. But soon those two stories would collide again in a way nobody saw coming. Rumors started spreading that Glorilla had been booked for a surprise performance at an upcoming charity event, a performance where Tamar was also scheduled to appear. Insiders claimed Toni might be attending too, though she hadn't confirmed. Everyone in the industry was buzzing, wondering if the three of them would actually end up in the same room after everything that happened. Behind closed doors, Glorilla's team debated whether she should cancel, but she reportedly said, "Nah, I'm showing up. I ain't hiding from nobody." And Tamar? She was planning to attend too, allegedly telling a friend, "If she want to throw shade, she can do it to my face." With the tension higher than ever, fans began counting down to the event like it was a boxing match. Everyone wanted to see what would happen when Glorilla, Tamar, and Toni were all under one roof again. And when that night finally came, it didn't take long for the sparks to fly. The night of the charity event arrived, and everyone in the entertainment world had their eyes on it. The red carpet was packed with flashing cameras, eager reporters, and fans shouting from behind barriers. The event was meant to raise money for local music programs, but let's be honest, no one was talking about the cause. Everyone was whispering about Glorilla, Tamar, and Toni. People wanted to know if Toni would show up, if Tamar would confront Glorilla, or if the whole thing would turn into another viral disaster. Inside the venue, the atmosphere was tense but glamorous. Candles flickered on every table, champagne flowed, and soft music played in the background. Glorilla arrived first, dressed in a sleek black gown, her hair pulled back, her face unreadable. She stopped for photos but didn't say much to the press. One reporter shouted, "Any comments on the incident in Atlanta?" And Glorilla just gave a cold smile, replying, "No comment. I'm just here to support a good cause." Minutes later, Tamar made her entrance, dripping in gold sequins and confidence. She smiled for every camera, blowing kisses, acting like nothing in the world could shake her. Fans on Twitter were already posting side-by-side photos, writing things like, "The tension in that room gotta be crazy," and "Tamar and Glorilla at the same event? This about to get spicy." Toni showed up quietly, slipping through a side entrance. She wasn't trying to make a scene, but once people realized she was there, whispers spread across the entire venue. The three women hadn't spoken since the concert, and now they were only a few feet apart, under one roof, pretending everything was fine. As the event began, a host took the stage to thank everyone for coming. The crowd applauded politely, but most eyes kept darting between the tables where Glorilla, Tamar, and Toni sat. Glorilla was sitting with her management team, her arms crossed, occasionally checking her phone. Tamar sat a few tables away, laughing loudly with a group of friends, clearly trying to make her presence known. Toni sat quietly with a few close confidants, avoiding eye contact with anyone. Halfway through the night, the host announced that Glorilla would be performing a short set as part of the fundraiser. The audience clapped, but you could feel the anticipation rising. Tamar tilted her head, smirking slightly, as if she already knew this was going to get interesting. Glorilla stood, adjusted her gown, and made her way to the stage. As the lights dimmed and the beat dropped, Glorilla gave an intense, fiery performance. Her voice was strong, her energy raw. But when she got to the second verse of one of her biggest songs, she switched up a few lyrics, adding lines that fans instantly recognized as shade. She rapped, "I don't need no spotlight thieves, I shine on my own. No fake energy on my stage. Better leave me alone." The crowd gasped. Everyone looked straight at Tamar, who raised her eyebrows and laughed, pretending not to care. But the cameras caught the tightness in her smile. Toni, sitting in the corner, just lowered her gaze and sighed. When the performance ended, Glorilla thanked the audience and walked off stage, her expression cool and collected. Tamar clapped slowly, exaggeratedly, and then whispered something to her friend that made them both laugh. But Glorilla must have noticed, because as she passed by Tamar's table, she stopped for a split second, leaned down and said under her breath, "Keep playing with me. Girl?" Tamar looked up, her smile fading. "Excuse me?" she said, her voice rising slightly. Glorilla leaned closer and whispered something else. No one could hear exactly what she said, but whatever it was, it made Tamar's face change instantly. Her laughter disappeared, replaced by an icy stare. Within seconds, cameras were flashing again. Event security subtly moved closer, sensing the tension. Glorilla turned to walk away, but Tamar wasn't about to let it go. She stood up, her heels clicking on the marble floor, and called out, "Don't try to act tough now. You had a lot to say online." The room fell silent. Everyone stopped talking. Forks froze midair. All eyes were on them. Glorilla turned back, her voice calm but sharp. Nah, I said what I said. I don't do messy energy. I just handle mine. Tamar took a step closer. Messy? Girl, you started it when you posted about me. Glorilla smirked. If the shoe fits. The crowd started whispering again, phones discreetly rising to record. Toni stood up from her table, her voice soft but firm. Tamar, stop. This isn't the place. Tamar turned toward her sister, frustration spilling out. You always take somebody else's side. Always. Glorilla shook her head, muttering, This ain't about her. But Tamar wasn't done. Oh, it's about me, right? Because you think you can throw shade and walk off like you the victim. Baby, you got the wrong one. Security moved in quickly, stepping between the two women before things could escalate further. Tamar's friends tried to pull her back, whispering for her to calm down, while Glorilla's manager gently guided her toward the exit. Glorilla looked over her shoulder one last time and said, You want attention? Congratulations, you got it. The moment she walked out, chaos erupted online. People who were at the event immediately posted videos, some grainy and shaky, but enough to show Tamar standing up and yelling across the room. Within an hour, clips were everywhere. Headlines popped up. Tamar Braxton confronts Glorilla at charity event. Toni tries to break up heated argument, and another public meltdown for the Braxton sisters. By midnight, both Tamar and Glorilla were trending again. Tamar went live on Instagram, her face illuminated by the glow of her phone. She said, I don't care who you are. Don't come at me sideways. I'm not the one. I came to support the cause, not to get disrespected. She tried to sound calm, but her voice was shaking. She added, People love to twist stories, but I'm not backing down from nobody. Fans flooded the comments with mixed reactions. Some said Tamar was right to stand up for herself, while others said she was out of line. One comment read, Why she always gotta be in drama? Another said, Glorilla was being shady on purpose. Tamar just called it out. Meanwhile, Glorilla posted a photo on her story, sitting in her car, sunglasses on, with the caption, I said what I said. Peace and blessings. No words, no names, just enough to stir the pot even more. Toni, exhausted and embarrassed, released a brief statement through her publicist the next morning. It said, Toni Braxton attended the event in support of music education and does not condone any conflict that occurred. She hopes for peace and resolution among everyone involved. Fans could tell it was carefully worded, but the underlying message was clear. She was done being dragged into the chaos. Behind the scenes, though, things were far from resolved. Tamar reportedly called Toni later that night, angry that her sister didn't defend her more publicly. You could have said something, she snapped. Toni responded quietly, You need to stop making everything a scene. I'm tired of cleaning up after your messes. That comment hit Tamar hard. For a few seconds, she didn't respond. Then she hung up without saying goodbye. For the next few days, neither sister spoke again. Glorilla stayed quiet too, focusing on her tour, but her name was everywhere. Every gossip page, podcast, and talk show had something to say. Some praised her for keeping her cool. Others accused her of stirring up drama to stay relevant. Either way, her streams went up, her followers increased, and her name dominated headlines. Tamar, meanwhile, seemed to spiral a little. She posted emotional tweets about fake people and loyalty, which many fans assumed were aimed at both Glorilla and Toni. One tweet said, Funny how people switch up when the light's on them. Another read, Family don't mean peace. Her followers flooded the replies with concern. But Tamar ignored the noise, staying active online, posting glam selfies like nothing was wrong. As days turned into a week, new details began to emerge. One insider claimed Toni's husband had called Tamar privately to apologize for the misunderstanding on stage, saying he didn't mean to make things awkward. Allegedly, he told her, I should have moved away when you started dancing. It just happened too fast. Tamar reportedly laughed and said, Don't worry about it. It's all love. But that conversation didn't stay private for long. Someone from the production team overheard it and leaked it online. Once again, headlines exploded. Toni's husband calls Tamar to apologize. Toni blindsided. And just like that, the tension that had started at a concert had turned into a full-blown family scandal. Toni was done trying to play the peacemaker. She told her inner circle, I'm stepping back from all of this. I can't keep getting dragged into the mess. But walking away was easier said than done, because the internet wasn't ready to let this drama go. And soon, one unexpected interview would take everything to another level. A week later, the situation that started with one bottle and one dance had turned into one of the biggest entertainment scandals of the year. News outlets were milking every detail, and fans were analyzing every post, every facial expression, every silence. Nobody involved had escaped the fallout. Glorilla's team was trying to spin the story as proof of her resilience. Tamar was fighting off criticism from every angle, and Toni, poor Toni, was stuck right in the middle, once again forced to watch her family's private drama play out in public. Then came the interview. Tamar had been booked for a live appearance on a daytime talk show to promote her upcoming project, but everyone knew what the host really wanted to talk about. She showed up in a bold red dress, hair perfectly styled, smiling for the cameras like she didn't have a care in the world. The host started with small talk about her music, her recent performances, but within minutes, the conversation shifted. "So, Tamar," the host said gently, "the internet has been buzzing about that night in Atlanta and the charity event that followed. Is there anything you'd like to clear up?" Tamar took a deep breath and smiled tightly. "First of all," she began, "people love to twist stories. That night was supposed to be about good vibes and music, but somehow it turned into this big drama. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just having fun. And as for Glorilla, I got nothing but love for her, but she knows she was being shady." The audience gasped softly. The host raised an eyebrow. "So you think Glorilla was sending shots at you?" Tamar nodded slowly. "Absolutely. I saw her post. I heard those lyrics. She was trying to make a moment out of me. But I've been in this industry long enough to know how people operate when they want attention." Within minutes, clips from that interview were all over social media. Fans flooded the comments with reactions like, "Tamar finally speaks," and "Oh, she didn't have to say it like that." Glorilla stayed silent for a few hours, but then she went live on Instagram that same evening. Clearly irritated, she sat in a car, hoodie up, music playing faintly in the background. "Since we talking," she said, "let's be real. I ain't gotta throw shade at nobody. I'm focused on my money, my music, and my fans. But what we not gonna do is act like people ain't disrespecting me first. I don't do fake." She paused for a second, then added, "If you think I was talking about you, maybe you guilty." It was short, but it was enough to set the internet on fire again. Toni, meanwhile, had been trying to stay out of the drama completely, but now people were dragging her name back into it. Fans began tagging her, demanding to know where she stood. Some accused her of protecting her husband, while others said she was throwing her sister under the bus. That night, Toni finally posted on Instagram a simple black background with white text that read, "Sometimes peace means distance." No names, no explanation, just that. It got over 1 million likes in a few hours, but the comment section turned into chaos. One person wrote, "Toni done washed her hands of them both," while another said, "She tired of the nonsense and I don't blame her. She tired of the nonsense and I don't blame her." Behind the scenes, though, the situation was far more emotional than fans realized. A source close to the family revealed that Toni had confronted her husband about the phone call with Tamar. He admitted to calling her but insisted it was innocent. "She was upset," he explained, "and I didn't want bad blood in the family. I just wanted to clear the air." But Toni wasn't convinced. She reportedly said, "You don't need to be clearing the air with my sister about that." Tamar, on the other hand, felt like Toni was overreacting. She vented to friends saying, "She's acting like I stole her man. I didn't do anything wrong. The internet just blew it up." But even as she said it, she knew the trust between her and Toni had been damaged. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Glorilla was performing at a festival in Houston when she paused mid-show and addressed the crowd. "People love drama," she said into the mic, "but I ain't with all that. I'm about positivity. I'm good with everybody, even the ones who tried to play me." The crowd cheered, taking it as a subtle peace offering. Her tone was calm, almost reflective. Fans online immediately tagged Tamar, asking if she would respond. Surprisingly, she didn't post anything. Instead, a few hours later, she uploaded a short clip of herself singing an unreleased song in the studio. The lyrics caught everyone's attention. "They love to twist my laughter into pain. Call me crazy when I'm sane." Fans interpreted it as a response to the whole situation, praising her for channeling her emotions into her music instead of social media. But just when it seemed like things were finally cooling down, another bombshell dropped. A behind-the-scenes video from the charity event leaked online, a clearer angle of the confrontation between Glorilla and Tamar. In the video, you could clearly hear Glorilla say, "Keep playing with me, girl." "You know what you did?" And Tamar's reply, "I didn't do nothing but dance." You insecure or something? The internet went wild all over again. Everyone debated what Glorilla meant by, "You know what you did." Conspiracy theories flooded Twitter. Some people said Glorilla was hinting that Tamar had said something about her behind the scenes before the concert. Others claimed there was an argument backstage that no one knew about. Tamar's team immediately tried to shut down the speculation, calling the leak invasive and misleading. Glorilla's team didn't comment at all. Toni once again stayed silent, though insiders said she was disgusted the footage came out at all. "It was supposed to be handled privately," she reportedly said. Now it's just another mess on display. By now, fans were calling the entire saga the Bottle and the Braxton drama. Memes flooded the internet, with people joking that it was better than reality TV. Some even started petitions for Tamar, Toni, and Glorilla to appear together on a talk show to clear the air. And although that never happened officially, producers from multiple outlets were reportedly reaching out behind the scenes, hoping to cash in on the hype. Eventually, time did what it always does. It dulled the noise. Glorilla went back on tour, focusing on her music and quietly rebuilding her reputation. Tamar shifted her energy into finishing her new album, using the entire ordeal as inspiration. And Toni, after months of silence, announced she was taking a break from the spotlight to focus on her family and her health. Still, the scars from that night didn't fade easily. Insiders said the sisters' relationship remained strained, though they had started talking again after their mother intervened. Evelyn allegedly told them, "Family lasts longer than fame. Don't lose each other over something the world will forget in a month." Her words hit hard. Tamar reportedly cried during that conversation, telling her mom she never meant to hurt Toni. "I just wanted her to have my back," she said. Toni, in her calm way, replied, "I always have your back. I just need you to stop putting me in positions where I have to prove it." It wasn't an instant fix, but it was a start. Slowly, the sisters began rebuilding their bond. Toni invited Tamar to dinner a few weeks later, and they were spotted out together, smiling for the first time in months. Glorilla liked one of Tamar's posts on Instagram around that same time. A small gesture, but fans noticed. For the outside world, it seemed like the chaos had finally ended. But those who knew them best said the tension still lingered beneath the surface. The night of that concert had changed everything. Glorilla had learned how quickly fame could turn dangerous. Tamar had learned how fragile family loyalty could be under public scrutiny. And Toni had learned that silence sometimes speaks louder than words. In the end, the whole thing became a reminder of how fast a single moment can spiral out of control in the age of social media. One bottle, one dance, one misunderstanding, and suddenly, the world is watching, judging, speculating, and twisting every word. Glorilla moved on stronger. Tamar used the pain as creative fuel, and Toni found peace in distance. But the story stayed alive online, replayed and rehashed, reminding everyone that behind every viral clip is a tangled web of emotions, egos, and fragile human hearts trying to survive the spotlight. If you've made it this far, you already know this story was way deeper than just a viral moment. From Glorilla's fiery clapbacks to Tamar's emotional confessions and Toni's silent strength, every twist showed how messy fame and family can really get when the cameras start rolling. But the real question is, whose side are you on? Was Tamar just misunderstood? Did Glorilla overreact? Or was Toni right for keeping her distance? Drop your thoughts below, because this one's not just a headline, it's a whole lesson in loyalty, pride, and the price of public life. And if you love deep breakdowns like this, hit that like. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big story when the industry starts shaking again.